Right, we're going to start off with Adho Mukha Svanasana, but for today's class I'd like you to have some support underneath your head. So have a couple of foam pads, you might want to have a brick as well, or you may need to go a little bit higher. So we're going to be using the supports in this way so that we can understand the action on the dorsal spine. So coming up for Adho Mukha Svanasana. Now, what I don't want you to do is to nose dive down. I want you to see that you go up really high on those toes, on those toe pads. Release the head and then push back. So you see that you get this pushing back and extending action. You want to see that although the head is supported, your arms are pulling back. Pressing down very, very strongly into the palms. If you can get the heels down, great, but don't worry if that's not yet. All right, so hopefully you found your support that's appropriate, and then we start the action. Now, if you're already in the action, see that you keep on going up. This takes tremendous control in taking the weight into the lower arm. So you want to see that that lower arm presses down very strongly. And then from there, you get that lift through the body. So soft inhalation and exhalation, press very firmly. And then see, can you take those thigh creases, the roots of the thighs back? Yeah, it's a strong action, holding your body up. Very strong action. Take a few more breaths in this pose. Okay, well done. And then release in. Good. All right, so if you can come into a Virasana action to the floor, fine. You will extend forward onto some support, extending. You've got to really get some length in those thighs to do this. Pressing into the tops of the feet strongly. And then grounding to the support. You can see it's a Virasana action. It's a bit of a job. Otherwise, take the two big toes together and then extending forward. In this position. So if that's difficult, then you may need to have some support underneath the buttock, and then this would obviously be a lot higher in this way. Sometimes it's quite nice to be a little bit higher because it really does activate this fold. Sometimes we squash down and we don't realise how much space we need in this hip joint to keep those actions. Okay. Just take a few more deeper breaths, inhalations and exhalations. Okay, well done, really good. Okay, so we're going to come for some seated forward bends now. And how I'd like to work with this is to get that symmetry that we were trying to get in the very beginning of the class. So just take a look here. I've got a chair. Now I'm going to use the chair so that I kind of go back to basics, but with some knowledge, So when we're in this position, I'm going to sit, no, I'm not going to sit on that. I'm going to sit on my rolled mat. This is quite a nice support. You may need to have more, you may need to have less. So before we start to come forward, we've got to understand what is the condition What is the leg doing when we come forward? Well, quite often, I know a lot of you go into the back of the knee, you push the knee down. But what we've got to learn is lifting this area, just above the knee area. This has all got to lift. The back of the calf's got to expand and broaden, so that you can get this lift above the knee. So it's quite a difficult action. Now, those of you who are challenged by this, a good way to support the lift of that knee area is to put just a small roll. You could actually put a couple of rolled socks actually right in the neck of the calf. We're not going to have too much there. That's it. And then you've got to try and straighten your legs. So this is a bit too much, just need it a little bit less. So I'm just thinking, I know some of you who come to this class have got hyperextension, so this will help you. You've got to pull the legs up. And what you want to do is to lift the heels. Well, that's fine, but you've got to try to extend the sole of the foot. You've got to remember that the fascia extends all the way through the body, so you're going to be in this position. Okay, so now we've got that understanding, we're going to take the right leg out to the side. Now, we want to see that when we do this, remember what I was saying, you've got to make space for this joint. Now, if there's not space and you end up with your leg quite high, what you want to do is to see that you put a belt around the knee area and encourage this length. You've got to pull it away from you. So you encourage the length. Now, if it's still not playing ball and coming into this nice position of length, then you can place a bit of support underneath the thigh like this, so it's angled. Now, those of you with knee difficulties, then you still can do the same thing. You can encourage, see, I've got this right at the top of the calf muscle, so I'm pulling that calf out. Yeah, in this position I'm pulling towards the inner knee. So they're two different actions. Remember, if there's a difficulty in the back of the knee, if you've got an artificial knee, then, and I know there's a couple of you in this class, you have to see that you work with the neck of the calf area and this action. All right, so those of you who are working with the belt, it's good to leave the belt behind the back of the knee or behind the back of the calf. Now I'm going to just take the support in this way. Alright, as you come forward, you want to see that the leg is pulling up nicely, and then we release the head in this position. So you want to lift, can you see that action? You want to lift out of the pelvis and just rest the arms onto the chair and just be in this supported position. Now, I know some of you will want to go a little bit lower after a little time in this position, and that's fine, but you want to start off teaching the body the symmetry of the action. So you might want to eventually extend into this position. Still keeping the breath nice and smooth. So it's a longer stay, challenging on the connective tissue, challenging on the nervous system. Sometimes our thoughts are just with what's paining. That's why it's really good to have that symmetry of the chair. You can go a little bit higher than that. You can put a bolster on top of the chair. You know, there's lots of variants where you can get that really nice symmetry. And when you come into this action, you want to see that you let the spine become weighted eventually. So if I'm in this position, I've got to see that it's supported for sure through my front body, but I've got to see that gradually the hinges help me to weight my spine down. It just helps me to get that length. I'm just slowly getting that hinge. And then extending. Okay. All right, so come up from that side and let's have a go on the other side now. So same preparations. If you can get your leg out to the side, treat it well, fold about, place it in the back of the knee, reach it to the side, pull it away from you. Those of you challenged by the knee itself, pull the head of the calf away. See that you get that action be there. You can have the leg nice and broad. This may be your better side, but see that you're getting an evenness. Okay, and once you've got that, lift up out of the pelvis and extend to the chair, or extend to something lower after you've come to the chair. So be sure that you come to the chair first so that you check in. And this is really important. You check in to see where you are with that symmetry. So Janu Shirshasana is such a challenging action. One of the most challenging poses, I would say, in the seated sequencing, because it requires so much outward rotation, so much length in your groin, so much awareness in your leg, so much extension in your leg fiber. This is all so incredibly dynamic and important. You want to see that those lower back muscles are releasing as well in this position. So just let the head rest. You may be going down onto your brick now and just breathing through the process. As you breathe that deeper breath in, see that the chest cavity is really opening nicely. Oh, that's a really nice yoga breath. When you feel that depth of breath, it's no longer on the surface. You have to find it deep within. So just be there for a few more moments. Okay, well done. All right, and bring those legs back to Dandasana. So now we're coming for Paschimottanasana. So I'm going to bring my chair a lot closer to me. And these seated poses really are challenging. I mean, in India we would do this as a restorative program, but to be honest, many people struggle with it because they just go back and they don't think about the space they're restoring, you know, because it's so hard on the tight muscles. So see that you come in, extend your heels nicely, pull the kneecaps up, and move this way a little bit. Now here's your challenge. Now I'm holding onto the back of the chair. If you've got a yoga chair, it's handy, but otherwise hold on to the sides of the chair. I'm going to see that now this chair is going to teach me how to work my legs. So I'm going to just take my hands to the outer edge of the seat here and pull myself up again. Pull myself up again. And then see, are you able to come into this rested action? Now, a lot of you may kind of say, let me move this away a little bit. A lot of you may say there's no rest in this position. So just let the forehead release onto the blanket. Soft inhalation and exhalation. Just be there for a few moments. Yeah, well done. Just a few deeper, longer inhalations and exhalations. That's all it takes. You have to see that on the exhalation, you just try to release some of the effort, some of the tension that is going on here. Okay, and now releasing. All right, so we're still coming to supporting the head, but now we're coming into a standing forward bend. So when we come for the standing forward bend, here, you can use the chair. If your hamstrings are quite tight and you think, well, do you know what? This would just do me for now. You can release your head onto the chair. You may be able to go a little bit lower, or lower still. Let's get a brick. And rest onto the brick. All right, so hopefully you've taken the appropriate support for you and your understanding and awareness, and then coming into that forward bending action. Coming to the forward bending action. Just let everything start to release, releasing in the spinal column, but those legs do not release. Those legs ground down from the roots. They got to root down from the outer hip, from the middle of the top of the bone. Everything's got to go down so strongly. Yeah, it's quite a big action. Quite a big, big action. So if you find that your hamstrings, your legs are paining, it's very, very strong action, then you have to use your breath to try to release some of the tension that you're holding. Don't go down so far. Don't go down so far. Okay, and then coming up. All right, well done. So, if you're not coming into Shirshasana, you have a bolster, But if you got a rolled mat, this would be fine too. You're gonna have it along your spine. So this is the option. So of course you can come into a Sukhasana, Shavasana. So you can come into this action if you prefer for today, and just letting the abdomen release. Or you can come into a straight-legged action. But either one, you have to concentrate on letting go. Just find that space and breath in the back of the pelvis. So start to make your adjustments, start to come into either your Sukhasana or your straight leg position. Obviously, those of you with requirements of support behind the back of the knees, then do so. Let the whole body completely dissolve. You're surrendering towards the floor side, keeping that depth and integrity of the pose. Remembering to scan your body again. Where is the tension? Are you holding effort? Are you holding such a tight grip that it's stopping you learning relaxation? The information cannot go through when you have a roadblock. Take a few deeper, longer inhalations. The whole body become weighted. Well done. Those of you who want to stay in your Shavasana, just stay there. Have a nice time. Those of you who are coming up and finishing the sequencing, then come up into a seated position slowly. Just don't engage with anything, anyone. Just don't let the senses be triggered. Be in this state of being peaceful, calm, quiet. Stay in your bubble. Well done. I hope you've enjoyed today's lesson, and I look forward to seeing you again very soon. Namaste.